What's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man, from E-Man's Movie Reviews. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to see Season 2 of The Boys on Amazon Prime. I just posted my Season 1 recap video, which you should definitely check out if you need a refresher before going into Season 2. Anyway, while I was watching Season 1, I noticed some things that had me thinking about a couple of interesting theories that I'd like to get your thoughts on. Plus, I'll cover a number of questions I'm hoping for Season 2 to answer. Stay tuned, because one of these theories is so dangerous that it could blow up the superhero's future in a major way. You won't want to miss it. Coming up next. Spoiler alert! This video will cover spoilers for Season 1 of The Boys. Let's start off by revisiting Episode 3 in Season 1. Homelander continues to show his displeasure with Madeline in regards to being just a prop for the superheroes. Something that I took notice of was during this discussion, Homelander was being really dismissive to the written talking points that Madeline gave him. That is, until Madeline told him that Mr. Edgar himself personally wrote those talking points. Well, guess what? Homelander quickly changed up his tune and picked those talking points right up. So here's a question for Season 2. Who is Mr. Edgar? Why is Homelander the most powerful hero out there appear to be afraid of this guy? Do you happen to think that Mr. Edgar might have super abilities? Or is his corporate power that huge that for whatever reason, it's got even Homelander feeling kind of nervous? Okay, now let's jump into Episode 5. We see Black Noir in action as he's tracking down Frenchie's known locations. As he's about to capture Frenchie, Kimiko jumps out to his aid. Black Noir uses his blades to slice up Kimiko, and he leaves her there to bleed out. Some questions for Season 2. What exactly are Black Noir's powers? Sure, I know one quick look to the comic books might explain this, but I'd like to know if the show will reveal something a little bit different from the comic. Either way, I'd like to know more about Black Noir in general, because all I know right now is that he's very thorough, good with knives, and apparently he's really good at playing the piano. Now let's stick with Episode 5 and jump into another theory. Thanks to the meeting with Ezekiel, the team now knows that some of the Compound V gets sent to certain hospitals. The team goes to investigate this, and they discover that babies are given IVs full of Compound V, meaning that these supers are really just a bunch of lab rats, and they're not naturally born with superpowers. So here's a theory for you. One of the biggest challenges Billy and his team faced is how to actually take on a superhero. At this point, it almost seems impossible to take down someone like Homelander with as powerful as he seems to be. However, given the fact that we now know that these superheroes are all lab experiments thanks to Compound V, then that means that they all share a common link. Meaning, if one chemical compound could give superheroes their powers, then another one can be created to become their kryptonite, so to speak. I wonder if Season 2 will explore that possibility and finally bring some level of advantage to combat not only the superheroes, but also the supervillains that are sure to become another threat. Now let's fast forward to Episode 8. During the celebration party, we see Annie subtly feeling ill. She didn't appear to be drunk, so could it be something else? Well, we did recently see her knocking boots with Huey, so it could be that maybe Annie is actually pregnant? What exactly could that mean? Does that complicate Annie and Huey's relationship even further? Will Annie give birth to a child that actually has natural born super abilities and not reliant on Compound V? I'm sure that'll add some interesting drama to Season 2. Now, if we stay with Episode 8 and keep going to the end, we saw Madeline meet her fate at the hands of Homelander. We also saw Billy Butcher lose any leverage he had and decided to just blow himself up. We then learned that the explosion didn't actually kill Billy because Homelander presumably saved them. However, we can't forget that Madeline's baby, Teddy, was also in the room with the explosion. Before her death, Madeline pleaded with Homelander to take the baby upstairs. What happened to baby Teddy? Did Homelander save him? Who is Teddy's actual father? It's doubtful that it's Homelander because we've already seen how happy he can be when he actually realized that he did have a legit child. We also noticed that Homelander wasn't the biggest fan of Teddy and always seemed really jealous of the kid. So again, What happened to Teddy? Could it be that maybe Teddy was also a Compound V child? Maybe that's why Homelander felt almost threatened by the child. That's something else we'll have to wait and see for season 2. Okay, now let's discuss the bigger theory that could shake up all of season 2 or sometime in the future. In episode 4, we had a lot of interesting things happen, but let's focus on one of the more messed up situations that had to do with the plane jacking over international waters. We saw Homelander and Maeve go out to stop the hijackers. However, things went terribly wrong and the passengers were all doomed to die. Homelander made it very clear that he was not about to save anyone and he was going to let them all just die. This moment right here was the first time the public ever saw Homelander's true colors as the shallow and evil person he's been all this time. So we see Homelander and Maeve watch the passengers of the plane go down. The news later reports that there were no survivors and that all the people were presumed dead. Well, what if I told you that there was a survivor? Let's go back to that final scene, and if you noticed, right before the scene ends, you can see one lone passenger falling out into the water. Maybe some others happen to fall out the water too. Who knows? But why is that important? Why is it important if there's actually a survivor? Well, Homelander said it himself. If any one of those people survive, then they will tell the world that the heroes left them all to die. That would essentially derail and hurt their reputation. Remember what Billy Butcher said in episode 3. Hitting a hero's reputation is one of their biggest weaknesses. So my theory is that there will be a sole survivor in this plane crash. Actually, to make things a little spicier and more dramatic, I think it'll be that little girl that Maeve wanted to save. Now, I think what's going to happen is what was teased earlier in the episode. I think a school of fish might actually come to the rescue of this lone survivor. Why a school of fish? Well, like I said, it was hinted earlier during that therapy session for the Deep. While the Deep was in counseling, he talked about how his greatest power was to talk to fish. And he also mentioned how often does someone need to be saved by a school of salmon. And the therapist mentions a Carnival cruise ship that was saved by the Deep. So let's imagine that this passenger is saved by some fish in international waters. Maybe they wash up on shores on some deserted island or foreign country. Whatever. Then the sea creatures spread the word all the way to Ohio to tell the Deep about what happened. I could totally see the Deep viewing that information as his redemption or get out of jail free card to become a major hero again. However, that would obviously complicate things with him and Homelander because, as already mentioned, if anyone survives that plane crash, then the hero's reputation and future could be at stake. So I imagine that the Deep will either use this information of a lone survivor to either blackmail Homelander to let the Deep come back into the Seven, or maybe he could use that information to expose Homelander for the evil that he's done. The Deep has been trying to grow a conscience lately after being ousted for so long. So we'll just have to wait and see on that too. Anyway, those were just some of the main questions and theories I had for season 1 of The Boys. What did you think about the passenger survivor theory? Do you think it's likely? I know there are a ton of other questions and maybe other theories out there. So what questions do you have that you're hoping to see play out in season 2 of The Boys? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel and stay tuned and follow along with me as I will be doing reaction videos for season 2 of The Boys after each episode. Anyway, I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.